Hello people and welcome to the first ever episode of On Sale on Switch. A show where we'll be looking at different items that pop up in the Nintendo Switch library, for a reasonable price. One of the big complaints a lot of people have had about the Switch since it's launched is it's a little pricier to buy games for than other systems, especially some of the older titles that are reposted on there. So, one thing I thought about doing was taking a look and, weeding through some of the games they have on sale. Because there are a lot of really good third-party and first-party titles on the Switch, and they go on sale fairly regular. So, with such a large amount of games to weed through, as a consumer, I was kind of intimidated. I was like, well, how do I know if this game's good? How do I know if it's not good? Some of these indie titles don't exactly have the most reviews out there. So, to help other people who've having the same problems that I am with trying to pick a good indie game for the Switch, I decided once a week we will pick up a game that's gone on sale. See how it is. It may be good, may be bad. And since we're currently dealing with a pandemic set to become the next big apocalypse, I figured we will start out with a game focusing on a post-apocalyptic setting. This one being the roguelike crafting survival adventure river rafting sim game of The Flame and the Flood. Anyway, The Flame and the Flood is a wilderness survival game that focuses on a girl named Scout and her dog Aesop. But the point of the game is they're going to have you scrounging for different resources, tools, things like that to craft and attempt to survive going down the river. The game is a little light on story elements. It's definitely more about the survival experience than anything else. But at the same time, you do come across things that kind of pepper in a bit of the lore and history of the region. And it's nice, it feels very organic, as if you, the character, are discovering as you go along, which you are. That's nice. If you like a game that's a little lighter on narrative, this one could be for you. Now, as a roguelike, a lot of the stuff you find are going to be procedurally generated. That does mean there is a bit of a limit of different types of places you can go to. Like you may find one in a series of bait shops, trying to find line, like maybe pieces of nuts and bolts, hooks, things like that you can use to upgrade your gear. The first thing you're notice about the game is its aesthetics are amazing. Like, it is a beautiful game to look at. Very simple design, but very effective. The second thing for me that stuck out was the crafting mechanics and survival elements are pretty basic. They're not as deep as some games I've played, and honestly that's kind of a credit for this game. It has a bit of a pick up and play kind of aspect of it. Basically just kind of play from one checkpoint to another. The game can tend to have a bit of a steep difficulty at times, but that's also due in part to the roguelike nature of the game. One thing the game does sell itself on is the roguelike crafting element of the game, and that's also kind of one of the bigger weaknesses of the game for me. You'll occasionally have good luck with the procedurally generated camps and environments you'll come across. Other times, though, pickings could be a bit slim. I had one playthrough where I came across 3 NPCs in a row who all just gave me stuff. That was great. I actually was able to have meat for the first time in the game. Because up until that point, I was kind of running scarce on resources and couldn't really find anything offensive or defensive. My character was basically just surviving off of eating cattails and wild berries. That playthrough also gave me a chance to upgrade my raft, which is an interesting little system. It's very simple, but since resources can be scarce, you have to really weigh, hey, do I want a rudder to make it easier to steer? Do I want more storage space? Because inventory management is a large part of the game. Honestly, one of the strongest things that stick out about the game to me is the music.
I found myself on a mountain over blue sea, above chaotic dwellings in the clouds to breathe. All I want is to cut this land, say nothing man. All I need is moving water to set me free.
Its soundtrack is just amazing. Like it's definitely one of the strongest points of the game. I could sit there and listen to the soundtrack for hours, and that's a good thing because you will be replaying the same areas quite often. Another thing that's a little disappointing to me was if you decide to stop the game, like say you have to go or you're just taking a break. If you don't want to put in the Switch in sleep mode or something, you just want to stop and play something else. It takes you back to the last checkpoint, which I wasn't too sure about, so I ended up losing a lot of gear, and then I was immediately thrown into a procedurally generated series of stops that were a lot had a lot scarcer items. Yeah, I believe that playthrough my character died of an infection because I couldn't find two moldy lumps of just two moldy lumps to make penicillin out of. And it was raining constantly, so I couldn't find a fire to turn the moldy lumps into penicillin at. Yeah. There are a lot of things that can kill you in this game, and you will die a lot. The raft takes damage, you take damage. You have to keep your hunger, hydration levels, body temperature, and overall rest into account. Your avatar, by the time you get to about day 6, she ain't looking so good. If you like procedurally generated games, you'll really enjoy this one. I'm not the biggest fan of the style, but I think it honestly works okay here. I mean, it does add a bit of replayability because you're never going to have the same experience twice, which is genuinely nice in this. And unlike a lot of procedurally generated games that I've played, this one has a set destination and ending. And that is really nice. I'm not going to spoil the ending of the game for you. You can beat it if you're lucky. I mean, it took me about 6 hours to get through it all. But that's not counting the countless deaths I had. Probably 6 straight hours of playtime. Probably closer to 9 after all the deaths. This game has been released on Steam already. And I'm not sure if it's on any other consoles. It probably is. But another thing to consider for the Switch that makes it appealing to some of these indie games is the portability aspect. With the Switch being a hybrid console, how does this play on the handheld side of things? Honestly, it is playable. It's nowhere near as fun as if you had the Switch docked and on the big screen. But sometimes the text and some of the notifications are a bit hard to view on the handheld side of things. The Switch screen is not that big. I mean, it's larger than most handhelds we've had so far, but this is a game that I do feel benefits from being on a larger monitor or television. Well, that is the Flame in the Flood, which is on sale for $4.49 up through April 6th, I believe. Yep, April 6th. So if you're interested in the game, which honestly I recommend, it was a very fun game. It's a good pick up and play game if you're not too easily discouraged by the procedural aspects of it. And I enjoyed it. I actually recommend this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you've played it before, if you like it, let me know in the comments down below. If you don't like it, let me know as well. And if you like the series idea, let me know. I'm going to try doing it for a couple weeks, just see how it takes off. If you will like it, I'll keep doing it. Because, it's a good way to try and find some hidden gems on the console. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see all of you in the future. Have a good one, and happy gaming.